Is it really worth it to buy organic produce? What does the peer-reviewed evidence actually say, and how much can you save each year by buying conventional produce? Today, I'm taking you inside Walmart with me to compare prices between organic and non-organic produce to see just how much you can actually save. After that, we will review the studies and evidence to decide, is paying more for organic worth it? So we know that Walmart is the #1 grocery store in America. Their 2020 grocery sales were $341 billion from almost 5,000 stores. So I thought that it would be best to compare prices there. I also researched what are the top 20 fruits and vegetables that are sold in the US, and I used both of these data points to inform our comparisons today. I'm going to be taking you inside the store with me, and we are going to look pound for pound, organic versus conventional produce. Just how much money can you save per year by buying conventional versus organic? The most popular fruit purchased in America is bananas. 65% of households purchase bananas, and at Walmart, organic bananas are 62 cents a pound. Non-organic bananas are 57 cents a pound, so that is a difference of really only 5 cents per pound. Next up is apples. 63% of Americans purchase apples on the regular. For organic apples at Walmart, you can get a 3-pound bag of those for $4.96. For non-organic, it's $4.18 per 3-pound bag. So with apples, you are saving 78 cents per 3-pound bag by purchasing conventional. Next up is strawberries. I know that is definitely my kids' favorite fruit. For strawberries, they are $4.48 per pound if you purchase organic at Walmart. I actually had to find this online because I had a hard time finding some of the organic produce in my store. But if you buy conventional strawberries, it's $2.48 a pound. So this is really a significant difference, about $2 more per pound if you purchase organic. Grapes are next, and I could not find organic grapes at my Walmart. I had to end up pricing them at my regular chain grocery store. So organic grapes there were $2.97 per pound. Those were on sale, and then the non-organic grapes were $2.48 per pound. So for this particular price comparison, the conventional grapes are 49 cents less per pound. For oranges, my Walmart actually did have a 4-pound bag of organic oranges. These retail for $6.28. My Walmart was actually out of conventional oranges, but I did price it online. For a 4-pound bag of conventional oranges, it is $5.23 at Walmart. So for oranges, you would save $1.05 per 4-pound bag if you purchased conventional versus organic. Okay, so blueberries. My Walmart surprisingly did have organic blueberries. These were priced at $5.96 a pint. Ouch. The conventional blueberries were $4.88 per pint. So for this particular comparison, you would save $1.08 per pint by purchasing conventional. Okay, so next up is lemons. 43% of US households purchase lemons regularly. For these, the comparison was $4.92 for a 2-pound bag of organic lemons. For 2 pounds of non-organic lemons, it was $4.12. So the savings on this particular item is 80 cents per 2-pound bag. Okay, so next up is avocados. My Walmart actually did have organic avocados for $4.98 for a 4-count bag. For the conventional avocados, it was $4.28, but you actually get more avocados in that bag. It's a 4 to 6 count. So for this comparison, it's about 70 cents of savings if you buy conventional versus organic. However, it might actually be more than that because you might actually get more for your money depending on how many are in the bag. Okay, so limes. I actually added these to the list because there was a couple of different produce items that were just not in season, so I could not do comparisons on those. But for limes, the organic ones are $4.72 for a 1-pound bag. However, the non-organic are actually $5.98 for a 2-pound bag. So you're paying more, but you're getting more product. With that particular comparison, you would save $1.73 per pound purchasing conventional limes. All right, so I also added kiwis to the list since my Walmart did have both organic and conventional. The organic kiwis looked terrible. They were $8.98 for 2 pounds. However, the conventional kiwis were $4.48 for 2 pounds. So that's a significant savings there. It's $4.50 cheaper to buy the conventional kiwis. Okay, so now we're moving on to vegetables. So the most popular vegetable in America purchased is potatoes. I don't think that's a big surprise to anyone. For organic potatoes at my Walmart, it was $4.98 for a 3-pound bag. However, you can purchase a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes for $2.64. So not only are you paying less, you're also getting more for your money. The savings on this is significant. If you purchase conventional potatoes, you're going to save $5.65 per 5 pounds. Okay, so next up is tomatoes. 61% of US households purchased these. I price compared Roma tomatoes because that was what was most readily available. The organic Roma tomatoes were $2.46 per pound. However, the non-organic Roma tomatoes were only 98 cents per pound. So again, a significant savings, $1.48 per pound savings by buying the conventional Roma tomatoes. Next up is onions. I actually compared yellow onions because my Walmart had 3-pound bags of each. So for the organic onions, these were $3.98 for a 3-pound bag. For non-organic, it was $2.28. So for this particular item, it's $1.70 savings by purchasing conventional onions. Okay, so next up is carrots. There's not actually a significant savings with organic carrots. My Walmart had organic carrots priced at $2.02 for 2 pounds. 1 pound of regular carrots was 82 cents. So if we're looking at a 2-pound quantity of that, you're really only going to save 38 cents by purchasing conventional versus organic. For lettuce, I used romaine lettuce. 46% of households purchase lettuce at the grocery store. For organic romaine lettuce at my Walmart, it was $3.12 for a 3-pack of romaine hearts. For non-organic, it was actually more expensive. It was $3.34 for a 3-pack. So for this particular example, you would actually save money if you purchased the organic versus the conventional, which I thought was interesting. Okay, so next up is bell peppers. These I basically had to compare by the pepper because they didn't have any comparable packages. But for organic bell peppers at my Walmart, I priced those at $3.46 for a 2-pack. However, you can get a 3-pack of bell peppers for $3.37. So if you're buying 3 bell peppers, you're actually going to save $1.82 by purchasing conventional. Okay, next up is broccoli. I kind of thought this would be higher on the list, but anyway, my Walmart only had organic broccoli, the washed and prepped kind, so that's what we're going to compare. At my Walmart, the organic washed broccoli is $3.98 for 12 ounces. For 12 ounces of the same conventional washed broccoli, it's $2.78. So for that particular comparison, it's a savings of $1.20 per 12-ounce bag if you're purchasing the conventional broccoli. Next up is cucumbers. I compared English cucumbers since they had both organic and conventional. For an organic English cucumber, it was $2.46 for one. For the non-organic English cucumber, it was $1.48. So for cucumbers, you're going to save almost $1.98 per cucumber by purchasing conventional versus organic cucumbers. Okay, so next up is salad mix. I chose to compare spring mix because that was what was readily available at my store. For organic spring mix, it's $3.76 per 1-pound package. For the non-organic, it's $3.46, but you only get 11 ounces in the package. So actually, by purchasing the organic spring mix, you could save $1.27 per pound. So this one is actually cheaper if you buy organic. All right, so next up is celery. I compared celery hearts. For this, it was $2.76 per package for the organic celery. For non-organic celery, it was $2.67. So really almost the same. For this particular comparison, you're really only saving 11 cents per package if you choose to buy the conventional celery. So next up is sweet potatoes. These weren't actually on the list, but I chose to compare them since my Walmart had both. For this particular comparison, the organic sweet potatoes are $4.97 per 3-pound bag. However, I was was able to price the non-organic sweet potatoes at $2.97 per 3-pound quantity. So with this comparison, you would save $2 for every 3 pounds of sweet potatoes you purchased if you purchased the conventional ones. Okay, so what does all of this mean? So if your family purchases all of these common produce items every week for your family and you currently purchase organic, if you switched to conventional, you could actually save $34.24 per week. Now, I do assume that with the rising cost of groceries, that will probably just only inflate as we go along this year. Not sure what's going to happen, but if you add that up over the course of a year, you could actually save $1,780.48 per year by purchasing conventional produce versus organic. So my goal with this video is not really to convince you to purchase one or the other, it's just to look at the facts. So now that we know the cost comparison, we're going to go on to review the literature and the evidence in just a moment. Today's video is sponsored by Upstart. If you are not familiar with Upstart, they have helped over 1.8 million customers on their path to financial freedom. It can be hard sometimes to see the light at the end of the tunnel when you have high interest debt, and sometimes it can be even harder to ask for help. That is where Upstart comes in. You can say goodbye to high interest credit card debt. That's really one of the first steps toward financial independence, but the interest month after month, if you're dealing with this, can feel like you're in a never-ending hamster wheel. Upstart-powered personal loans can help you pay down high-interest debt all online with simple and easy-to-understand payment terms. So whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Upstart knows that you're more than just your credit score, so rather than looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income, employment, and other information provided in your loan application to find you a smarter rate for your loan. The best part is that you can check your rate in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000 without impacting your credit score, and you can even receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Several of you have reached out to me on Instagram to let me know that you have used Upstart service and you're so thankful for it, so I appreciate when you do that. If you want to check your rate today, don't wait. You can use the link in my description box below. It's upstart.com/Jen. That's upstart.com/Jen to check your rate today. Don't forget to use my link to let them know that I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Once again, the link will be in the description box. You can click on that. It's upstart.com/Jen. So before we get started on the evidence part, I just want to kind of level set with a definition of what organic actually means. I did pull over 6 peer-reviewed journal articles for this particular research. I will link all of my sources in the description box below if you want to check those out. So what is organic food? Organic food is food that is cultivated without the application of chemical pesticides. Organic foods are generally perceived by the public as environmentally safe. They are also not grown from genetically modified organisms or GMOs. And when the world's population was low, almost all agriculture was primarily organic and near natural. However, with the increasing population of the world, organic farming just really wasn't producing enough food to meet the needs of the rapidly increasing population of the earth. So I think when we talk about organic products, we need to talk about marketing. And I personally feel like when we think of organic produce, we just think of like these lovely fields out in the sun where these plants and produce are being produced and grown with nothing but water and sunlight. And that's actually not accurate. If you look at the USDA's website, there is an entire list of non-organic ingredients that is actually allowed in organic farming. In addition, when a label says that something is organic, it actually only has to contain 95% organic ingredients. So up to 5% of the ingredients in that particular item can be non on organic. There's also another label that says made with organic ingredients. And for this particular label, actually only 70% of the product must be made with certified organic ingredients. So as you learn more and more about what these definitions actually mean, I don't want to necessarily say that they're intentionally misleading. I just think that it's important as a consumer to know those definitions before you purchase, especially if you're spending more money. I'll leave a link to the complete list down below, but you can actually find online a list of synthetic ingredients that are actually allowed in organic agriculture. Some of those are alcohol, chlorine, hydrogen peroxide, peracetic acid. They also allow certain herbicides, different insecticides like boric acid, lime sulfur, etc. They do also allow 11 different compounds for plant disease control, several synthetic items as plant growth regulators, and many other items that I would likely need a chemistry degree to interpret. At this link, you can also find the non-synthetic substances and the synthetic substances that are prohibited for use in organic crop production. They also have listed different substances that are allowed for use in organic livestock and many, many other things. But the take home from this, I just want you to know, when we see the label organic, I think a lot of us interpret that as zero chemicals, and that's just not accurate. So why do people buy organic food or organic produce? There's actually a study done in 2021 that showed that 48% of the population surveyed for this particular study perceived that organic food was more healthy than other food. They also showed that 19% of participants purchased organic because they thought it was pesticide free. 9% perceived it as, quote, fresh. 15% perceived it as environmentally friendly. There's also some debate with that, which I'm not going to go over in today's video, but just know that there's information out there on that as well. 5% of people purchased organic food because they perceived that it tasted better, and 2% wanted to try something new. Another 2% thought it was trendy and fashionable. I personally have some reservations about this particular study. You can actually see the socio-demographic characteristics of the respondents here. They did have an equal split between male and female, but if you look at the annual income of these participants in this study, the large portion of these participants make over $60,000 a year. And in fact, over half of them made over $80,000 a year. They really only had 9 study participants in a lower income group. So I would expect that to sort of skew the results, just because buying organic produce is quite cost prohibitive. This study actually did indicate that the level of income was directly proportional to organic food buying. For example, the higher the income level, the more likely the consumer is to buy organic food. And they found the same trend with education. Higher levels of education corresponded to a higher likelihood of buying organic foods. Overall, I thought this study was interesting, although when I read the implications, it sort of seemed like the authors were actually doing this study so that they could determine how best to market organic products to consumers. So I thought that maybe there was a little bit of bias there. Another study published in 2018 actually was looking at the effect of online social proof regarding organic food, which I think this is a super interesting study, because if the past several years have taught us anything, it's that people are heavily swayed by what they read on social media, which I think is often dangerous, because a lot of times on social media, people are just posting their thoughts and opinions, and thoughts and opinions, as we know, are not necessarily fact. This particular study was done on Facebook, and basically they were looking to see what types of comments got more likes than others. And you can see here on the screen all of the comments about organic food and why, growing vegetables without pesticides seems safer. Example, that got 254 likes, versus growing vegetables without pesticides seems more dangerous, etc. This is obviously translated from Dutch, so that's why the English is like this. But you can see all of the comments that got way more likes versus less likes on Facebook, which I think is interesting in and of itself. Overall, this study found that social media information, such as comments and likes on Facebook, does influence consumers' attitudes, feelings, and behavioral intentions. I don't think any of us would really argue with that, but it's just interesting to see how people's perceptions of things that might not be fact are influencing their purchasing decisions. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is pesticide exposure. And one of the reasons why people purchase organic is because they feel that they will be exposed to less pesticides. Who has heard of the quote, dirty dozen? Since 1995, the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, which is a United States-based environmental advocacy organization, they have developed this annual list of fruits and vegetables, frequently referred to as the dirty dozen. And this list of produce is suspected of having the greatest potential for contamination with residues of pesticides. The annual release of this report normally contains a lot of media buzz, and it's considered to be quite influential in the produce purchasing decisions of millions of Americans. In one news release, the EWG said, quote, consumers can lower their pesticide consumption by nearly 4/5 by avoiding conventionally grown varieties of the 12 most contaminated fruits and vegetables. A 2011 study done by the Department of Food Science and Technology at the University of California said it is unclear how the EWG could make such a statement, since the methodology used to rank the various fruits and vegetables did not specifically quantify consumer exposure to pesticide residues in such foods. Instead, the methodology provided 6 separate indicators of contamination. They said, since none of these 6 indicators specifically considered exposure, which is the product of food consumption and residue levels, it is difficult to see how the EWG could substantiate the claim that consumers could lower their pesticide consumption by nearly 4/5 by avoiding conventional forms of produce in the dirty dozen. Overall, the researchers in this study found that the methodology used to create the dirty dozen list did not appear to follow any established scientific procedures, and while some research has demonstrated that there is toxicity of some of these chemicals, it's more about the dose rather than the poison, right? So effects, still require exposure to be at a level high enough to cause a biological effect. They also wanted to mention that consumption of organic produce should not be equated with consumption of pesticide-free produce. They did also find in a different study that 23% of organic food samples that were tested did test positive for pesticide residues. Their findings demonstrated that consumer exposures to the 10 most frequently detected pesticides on the dirty dozen commodity list were at negligible levels, and that the EWG methodology was insufficient to allow any meaningful rankings among those commodities. They did, however, agree with EWG's president that, quote, we recommend that people eat healthy by eating more fruits and vegetables, whether conventional or organic. Their findings did not indicate that substituting organic forms of produce for conventional forms would lead to any measurable consumer health benefits. Another driver of purchasing organic produce is the perception of a health benefit. I did find a study that was published in JAMA about the association of frequency of organic food consumption with cancer risk. So this study wanted to investigate the association between organic food consumption and the risk of cancer. They followed almost 69,000 participants. 78% of those were female over a period of 7 years. And they did find that high organic food scores were inversely associated with the overall risk of cancer. They found that a higher frequency of organic food consumption was associated with a reduced risk of cancer. However, they did say that the findings needed to be confirmed and further research was necessary to determine the underlying factors involved in this association, basically saying that correlation does not equal causation. There was some critique in the form of a comment and response to this particular study, and they submitted that an interesting finding was that combining a high frequency of organic food consumption and a high quality diet was not associated with a reduced risk of overall cancer. They also reported that the European Food Safety Authority has previously reported that the mean amount of single pesticides was similar for both conventional and organic food products, basically saying that the original study did not take this into account. And so if we're studying a population based on whether or not they consume organic produce and the level of pesticide exposure is the same, then how can we say that one or the other causes cancer or not? They also noted that, for example, high levels of physical activity have been shown to reduce the risk of cancer. And in the study, the group with the highest consumption of organic and high quality food also had the highest proportion of participants with low levels of physical activity compared with the group with the lowest consumption of organic and high quality food. They said that this could potentially account for the increased cancer risk in the former. Overall, they said, given the inconsistencies highlighted in their response, caution should be exercised when promoting organic food as a preventative strategy against cancer. So essentially, organic produce isn't any better or worse for you, but we really shouldn't be promoting that it contributes to a decrease in cancer. So what about nutritional value? Does organic produce have a higher nutritional value? Well, there have been some studies done that show that in some cases, organic produce does contain more antioxidants than conventional produce. There was a 6-year study done where researchers found that organic onions had about a 20% higher antioxidant content than conventionally grown onions. However, the question of whether organic foods are truly more nutritious is still debatable, so the jury is definitely still out on that one. So I guess the question is, what do we do with all of this information, right? We know that organic produce is cost prohibitive, and so it really comes down to an issue of affordability. And I think after reviewing all of this research and many articles, most experts agree that a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, regardless of whether they are organic or conventional, far outweighs the risks of any pesticide exposure, which has shown to be extremely minimal. We know that a diet rich in fruits and veggies has been linked with a reduced risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity, and still most Americans are not getting enough vegetables every day. And there is evidence to show that some of this marketing around the EWG's quote, dirty dozen can be harmful in some instances. There was a study done where a group of researchers surveyed 510 low-income shoppers to learn about their attitudes about organic versus conventional fruits and vegetables. What they found is that participants generally preferred organic fruits and vegetables, but cost was a significant barrier to purchase these items, as we went over in the first part of this video. They also found that messages naming specific fruits and vegetables with pesticides shifted participants toward less likely to purchase any types of fruits and vegetables, regardless of whether they were organically or conventionally grown. So I think we can definitely deduce that some of this messaging that's used to sell organic produce and brand it as pesticide free can be really harmful in influencing the amount of fruit and vegetables that someone can purchase, especially if they can't afford organic produce. Overall, even though the dirty dozen foods do have pesticides, actual exposure levels are typically millions of times lower than those that are of health concern. So consumers should not be concerned with any adverse health effects if they are purchasing these items conventionally. So after all of this information, the bottom line remains that the best thing you can do is to consume lots of fruits and vegetables for their health benefits, whether you choose to buy organic or not. I would definitely be interested in your thoughts and opinions on this subject. Do you purchase organic for your family? Do you purchase conventional? What are your thoughts and opinions on that? Like I said, the goal of this video was just to provide you with the facts so that you can make informed decisions, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you again to Upstart for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check the link out in the description box below. I will also link all of the articles and studies that I reviewed for this video down there as well. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.